Hi.
My name's Isaac.
I'm Shayna.
I'm Sophie.
And I'm Colby.
And today we're going to be reviewing the game Kalah. Kalah is a strategy and turn-based board game. We'll be breaking down the history of Kalah and how it came to be, including how it applies to culture. We will also talk about how to play the game, including its rules and instructions, and what strategies are best to use to actually be good at the game. We hope that you enjoy this tutorial. Kalah is a two-player board game. The materials your player will need to play is a board and the pieces. The board has 12 small pits in total. These are divided evenly onto two sides so that each player has a row of 6 small pits. Additionally, at the ends of each row, each player has one large pit called a store. When the game starts, each of these small pits is filled with the same amount of pieces. In a standard game, this is typically 4.
During your turn, you pick up all the pieces from one of your pits on your side and distribute them one by one into the pits in a counterclockwise direction, including your Kalah store, but skipping your opponent's Kalah. If the last stone you place lands in an empty pit on your side, and there are pieces in the directly opposite pit on your opponent's side, you capture both the last stone you placed and all the pieces in the opposite pit. The captured pieces, along with the last stone you placed, are moving to your Kalah or store. If your last stone lands in your own Kalah, you get an extra turn. The game of Kalah ends when one of the players cannot make a move because all the pits on their side of the board are empty. The order of operation for ending the game is as follows. When there are no pieces left in any of their pits to move that signals they cannot make another move. The opponent player who still has pieces left collects all the remaining pieces on their side and places them into their store. Each player counts total pieces, and the player with the most total pieces wins. If both players have the same number of pieces, it's a tie.
Now that you know how to win Kalah, let's talk strategy. As stated by Shayna, you want to avoid leaving open pits on your opponent's side of the board because this could lead to them collecting pieces if they land in one. Obviously, this also is your goal, to score more pieces in your side, but how do you get there? Your first move is extremely important, similar to chess. Your move determines how your opponent will react and could give you great advantage if you follow these steps. This is also dependent if you are the first one starting the game. The first move is opening up with your third cup. So you want to move your third cup so that it lands on the Kalah on your side. This also gives you a second turn on your first move. Moving your pieces from your second cup on the right, closer to your Kalah, to trail around to your opponent's side. Now this second move was defensive. As you can see, I used it to prevent my opponent from making the same double as I did. These moves set you up in the best starting position to take on whatever moves your opponent is planning to use against you. After this though, it's crucial that you are focused on either being defensive and preventing your opponent's moves, or being aggressive and attempting to steal your opponent's pieces and risking your own. This image shows a smart move of a player moving a piece where the yellow arrow is pointing. This allows this player to steal all the opponent's pieces in the corresponding cup. It is important to play the long game too. Don't focus as much on stealing your opponent's pieces, but rather focus on getting pieces into your Kalah, which would possibly set you up for greater success in the endgame. This also promotes emptying your last pit, which allows you an extra turn, so being defensive in this way definitely pays off, especially if you're not starting the game. These strategies will lead you to great success in your gameplay. Good luck. Kalah, although simple in style, is not made for every gamer. The pace of the game determines how intense a game of Kalah is, but if you are someone who enjoys more traditional games, then you will enjoy playing. The game is a little boring for my liking, but it is a very convenient game that requires no bought materials and was made with this effortless idea in mind. Due to the game's origins being very old, there aren't many original theories of how it came to be, but its simplicity makes it easy for anyone to either play until they discover a strategy or even watch a more in-depth video like the one made by eHow, who gives a great blueprint of how to win. I would rate Kalah a 7.5 out of 10 on my board games list. It is basic, but that's part of the reason it has lasted this long and has managed to make its way into American culture.
Simple, fun, and strategic. Playing Kalah is a blast. After playing, you may find yourself wondering how such an awesome game came to be. So let's dive in to the history of Kalah. Kalah is a modernized American variation stemming from the ancient Mancala family of games. Dating all the way back to 1400 BC in Egypt, archaeologists have uncovered boards carved into the tops of ruins. But that doesn't even scratch the surface of the evidence reaching all the way back to the year 6000, raising the question if Mancala is in fact one of the world's oldest games. During the Roman annexation of Africa, which began in the year 146 BCE, Mancala was discovered by the Romans and spread throughout the Roman Empire. After the Roman Empire, in the late 13th century, Marco Polo brought home details of the game to Venice, which coincided with the time Mancala began to spread throughout Europe. This led to the earliest writings of both Prince Henry the Navigator and Bartholomew Diaz, who also helped Mancala's growth to continue into the 15th century. The game grew so popular in Europe that it eventually made its way to the Americas. As Mancala circulated in the Americas, a man by the name of William Julius Champion Jr. discovered the game category in his 20s. His liking for the game would eventually lead him to create the popular American version of the game that we know and love today, Kalah. In his 50s, he began to manufacture his game, Kalah, starting in Connecticut and then later in Salem and Holbrook, Massachusetts. Kalah is now marketed all around the United States as Mancala, though it is just one of many variations of the game. Though historically always a physical game, it is now more convenient than ever to play, with availability on iMessage games and free websites.
Now that we know the history, we can take a look into Mancala's role in African culture. Mancala is a significant part of African culture in West Africa. In West Africa, the game is known by many names, including Oware, Wari, Awale, and many more. Through the significant varies between tribes and ethnic groups. For the Bale women of the Ivory Coast, the special variant of the game is placed to influence the sex of their unborn child. The decoration and creation of Mancala boards is also said to represent the agriculture and landscape. Every year, Mancala tournaments are held around the world, bringing enthusiasts together to celebrate the game's culture and heritage. Now let's take a look at the pros and cons of Kalah. Pros. It's easy to learn. Once you're old enough to go to kindergarten, you can play a game of Kalah. It promotes critical thinking. Players must plan multiple moves ahead to capture the most seeds and anticipate their opponent's moves. One-on-one. Opportunity for interaction with your opponent, creating the kind of game you desire.
Due to the nature of play, moving the pieces in Kalah in a counterclockwise manner can feel monotonous. Additionally, the game provides low stimulation. Therefore, players with a low attention span may struggle to focus on the game, given the fact that it is as engaging of a game as you make it. When having more than 2 players, a tournament-style game can be played, but when an odd number of players want to play, one person will be left out.
Though simple, the game keeps players engaged and always having to plan their moves ahead. This is a good example of Caillou's agon theory of games, as well as Johnson's tunneling theory. As Kobe and I played our first game, we were able to joke around and talk while we first learned the game. This created a light and less competitive game for us.
Thanks for watching our Kalah tutorial. We hope you now feel confident with the basics of setting up the board, moving stones, capturing, and strategizing for the end game. Remember, while the rules may be simple, Kalah offers endless possibilities for strategy, so every game can be a new challenge. Keep practicing, and soon you'll be able to plan moves ahead and outsmart your opponents. Don't forget to subscribe for more game tutorials, and let us know in the comments how your next match goes. Happy playing!
Thanks for watching! Bye!
Bye!